to Crafty Sheilas. I'm Loz and I have Belle on the line with me today. And today we're going to do a whip and chat, but it's going to be a little bit different. We got a couple of questions, random questions that we're going to fire at each other. And I think we've done this once before and we loved it. So it's if you're wanting something a bit lighthearted, hopefully Belle's got some lighthearted questions so we don't get too deep and personal.
I'm trying not to.
You never know. You might find out something new about us. You never know. So today I am working on, in my last whip and chat, I did say that I am getting back into some reading, and I've had this from GemIt 3D. It's a peacock bookmark, and it's got crystals. So it's got this beautiful little tassel. At the moment, I'm using an old Qantas plain boarding pass. So I thought maybe I should get my this is a good opportunity to get my bookmark done. So as usual, I've got my usual 2 pens. You know the drill, from Diamond Art Club. I'm using my Diamond Art Club tray because they're round crystals, and that's about it today. I've just left all my stuff in these baggies, so I'll just open them for each colour as I needed, and yeah, that's about it.
Loz, we need to work on the fact that you're still using the same pens, the same accessories. I've even given you a pen. Have you even tried it?
It's too big. I don't like it.
Seriously?
Yes.
That one's quite a thin one.
No, it's the wooden one. I don't like it. There's something about how the shape of it. Oh my God. I'm in trouble, guys. Help me. Help.
All right. Well, if you don't like it, you can give it back because I like it.
I will give it back.
I tried. Okay, so what I'm working on for the event, the Emma Casey event. Now, we are recording this the week before it's going live. So apologies, guys. I think we're on the last week of this event now. But it's a beautiful Emma Casey. So it's Cupcake Kitty, which is from Art and Soul. But it's just
such a gorgeous little cup.
Such a cute little image. We did do an unboxing for this. I'll link it in the description below. Accessories, I've got this beautiful big tray. It's ginormous.
Whoa.
Yeah. The only thing I love the fact that there's actually really, really high sides. Like, it's one of the highest sides I've ever seen. But it's too square. Like, I want the spout to sort of be a little bit more angled. So the only thing I find really frustrating with this, and I will say this actually isn't too bad for rounds. So Loz, you might be able to have a look into something like this and maybe trial it and see how you find it. It's only like one misshaped ones.
I think I have a tray like that actually.
Okay. Well, this is by Casey Design. So this is an Australian 3D printed company.
Yeah, that's where I got it from.
Oh, there you go. I'll link them below. My putty I'm using from Bex over at the Creativity Squirrel. I'm using the sprinkles flavouring because I thought it's a cupcake. I need sprinkles.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm using my Art and Soul stabby tweezers. They're always one of my favourites. They're awesome.
Mine are here too. I don't go anyone without them.
Yes. And I'm doing rainbows. So I was like, I need a rainbow pen. So I'm using this pen. Very pretty, very pretty. I did buy this on a D-stash in Australia, but it was originally from Leopard Leatherworks. So it's a Leopard Leatherworks blank, and it's been hand-turned by them. But
incredible.
Pretty little one. And then because Art and Soul bring out their drills in baggies, I am using my 3D printed tea caddy and just holding all my drills in there.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So, who wants to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Well, I was going to say, before we start the questions, you can ask your first question. But what I was going to say is a while ago, like probably, 6 weeks ago, one of our viewers had asked about they'd asked us a question about training. So this is Robin from Sparkling Diamonds. She was curious about what the requirements are in Australia to do like nurse practitioner courses. So I don't know if you know much about it, Loz, but I can certainly talk from the pharmacist side of things.
So I know
Australia,
So with a nurse practitioner, it is an additional degree on top of your Bachelor of Nursing. So the Bachelor of Nursing is we go to university and it's 3 years. We do, gosh, I'm 23 years as a nurse now. I didn't realize it was that far, but and so of course you do like your theory, and then you go out and do your time working in the hospitals and placements in other places to get your degree. I know with your nurse practitioner you have to have emergency experience. You have to be able to have worked rural. You have to have done a lot of speciality nursing to get in, and it takes some time to actually get your qualification. I think you have to have a few master's degrees. Yeah, it's huge.
Wow.
It's not something easy that you can just go and do an extra course and do. You have to be in a job that warrants that degree, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So like your nurse practitioner, they're obviously very in high demand out in rural Australia because they can take the place of a doctor.
Yeah,
pretty much, because they can work and prescribe medications and all this
within
other
their
stuff.
specialty.
So, within their specialty, exactly. Yeah. So that's pretty much all. I don't have any desire to do it. I'm quite content where I am. So
it's also hard when you've got a young family to be committing to a lot of extra study.
To extra study, and I suppose I'm not interested in emergency medicine. You know, it's not emergency nursing, I should say. It's not something that's on my radar. It never has been, and I never did any placements in it. So I'm quite content with general nursing. But I'm intrigued to know what it entails with like the pharmacy side of things.
Yeah, it sounds like ours is much easier. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it's actually still only a pilot in Australia, and actually I think it's only in Queensland. I don't think, maybe this year the rest of the country has opened up a pilot as well. But Queensland opened it up 2 years ago now, and they had a test run up in far north Queensland where they could not get prescribers of any kind, nurse practitioners, GPs, specialists, all of the above. It was an absolute crisis up there for them. So they basically tried to do it that serious cases get left to the doctors they could get there. Anything that was, I'm going to classify as like easy, would go through pharmacy, and they supported pharmacist prescribing. So there is a 12-month course that we have to do on top of our pharmacy degree.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I was shocked when you were saying like, oh, it's masters and it's this and it's it. No, not for us. At this stage, it's not PBS covered, so the government do not subsidise our medications. We think that's largely because it's still a pilot. Once basically all of Australia are on board with doing it, we're anticipating that we will be like normal prescribers, that we can have PBS subsidised medications and things like that. So the reality is that we're largely going to be looking at, I'm going to say like young families that don't have concession cards and they don't go to the GP that often and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So my friend's actually doing the course. She's almost finished. She's doing her last assessments now. So it's a 6 to 12 month course. It just depends on, your timing of it. So I think she's coming up on 8-9 months now. And she's doing her last assessments at the moment.
So do you have a time frame you have to get yours done?
Yes, because they're university courses. So we have to get it done within a set time frame. Yep. So they've even tried to divide it so that it's not unfair. So there's 2 university modules that have to be done, and it's done through 2 different universities. So one is talking about the legalities of prescribing, and the other one is looking at more the health conditions that we can cover to prescribe. So it's not a bad way to divide it, I think. And we have to have supervised prescribing hours. So I think my friend said it was it 20 hours over the course of the term that she had to have supervised by a current prescriber. So that could have been a nurse practitioner or a GP or a specialist or whoever. So, and at the moment, because this is a pilot, the Australian Medical Association is up in arms and creating all sorts of havoc for pharmacists because they don't want to lose their turf.
Exactly. But wouldn't you think it's going to help?
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's a continual push and shove with the AMA. They unfortunately have a lot of power, especially influencing the government. And I'm so glad at this stage the government has stood up and said, no, it's still a pilot. We're seeing what's happening.
Good. Yep. No, that's really good.
The only downside is that with the AMA is that they put out basically, I'm going to say a veiled threat to a lot of the doctors and said, you will not supervise pharmacists for their hours. Otherwise, we will not support you if there's any issues with legalities. I was like, that's blackmail. Like,
that is terrible.
Absolutely disgusting. So that was retracted fairly quickly because the word got out with that. But even so, like, damage is done that it's such a game. It's not pleasant at the moment.
I'd be like, bugger yous. We'll keep you prescribing then. Be overworked, be unhappy, bugger yous.
Honestly, it's pushing people the other way of we're really going to do it now. And any of the cases that we potentially might have sent to you, we're not now.
Yeah.
If you want to play this game, we'll play this game. Like, it's supposed to be about the patient. It's not supposed to be about your bottom line.
Yeah.
So that's what you want to play, then that's what we'll play. So
I tell you, I love my local pharmacist. They are amazing down here. Like, if I couldn't get into the GP, and that's quite a fair bit, I just go down to her and she's like, I'm like, my boy's got this cough, and I'm like, I'm thinking croup. She's like, no, it doesn't. It sounds like croup, but there is viral going around, blah, blah, blah. And she was so helpful. Like, I think you guys are being underutilized, really. Yes. And the amount of knowledge you have is incredible.
Yeah.
And we need to tap into that.
And that's the biggest thing. And that's what they're trying to do. So we're going to be limited with what we're allowed to prescribe. So it's very much going to be, I'm going to say, like, skin conditions. So it's going to be eczema, psoriasis. It's going to be, basic skin infections. I know that they're going to be doing sorry?
UTIs?
We can already do UTIs for uncomplicated cases. But I think they've opened it up to slightly more complicated UTIs.
Cool.
Not fully complicated because they still have to go through a doctor, but we can at least do the next level up if we've done the prescribing course. It'll be the pill and initiating the pill, not just continuation.
Cool. Yeah.
It'll be contraceptive in general, basically, not just the pill.
Not just the pill.
There'll be respiratory, so basic chest infections or now I've got UTIs in the brain. Respiratory tract infections and things like that, asthma, to try and get them back under control. So it won't be diagnosing asthmatics or COPD. It'll be continuation and making sure it's not worsening. And if it's worsening, it's still got to be referred back to a GP. But at least people are getting access.
Exactly. And it's going to take the pressure off emergency departments. And
exactly.
Yeah.
And especially here where I'm living, we have the worst wait times in Queensland for our emergency department.
I saw that.
Yeah, it is horrendous here. And it's either the worst or the second worst in the country. Ours is horrific. So if we can try and take pressure off, and even now we've come out of our busy season for the GPs. And even now, I was talking to my mother-in-law yesterday, it's a 2.5 week wait to get into a GP.
Oh, goodness.
And this is our low season.
Yeah.
So something has to change. This is why our ED wait times are horrendous. So I'm glad that there is a pilot, and I hope that it gets fully taken up, and I hope that it gets taken up by the rest of the country so that it can be PBS subsidized so that we can be helping everybody.
Exactly.
And just taking the pressure off because it's a nightmare at the moment. I feel for the patients.
Yeah,
and it's really bad when they come in saying, I can't get into my doctor. Can you have a look? Just like you've done. And I end up saying, I see what you're saying. I cannot help you. You have to see a doctor. And that's heartbreaking.
Yep.
to know it's a ridiculously long wait, or it's the stress of having to ring every doctor's surgery in town, or
Yep.
sitting up at ED for 6 hours in their quiet period, not even in their peak time. You know,
Yep.
it's not good. So
It's not good, no. And I know, like, back in the day when my boy was having all of his low blood sugar episodes, I have gone into my doctor's surgery and I said, please help me. I don't have a glucometer. He's having a hypo. I just want you to check his blood sugar so I know where we're sitting and whether we go to hospital or not. They wouldn't help me.
Oh, my gosh.
Would not help me. No, the doctor's busy, sorry. No, what about the
But
nurse?
a nurse can do
There
that.
goes no nurse today. Yep, they could not help me. And I'm
Why
like,
couldn't
oh
they
my
even
God.
say, here's our glucometer, you do it since you're qualified?
No, because they can't charge it. You know what I mean? Oh, I was absolutely wild. So they're like, oh, we can ring an ambulance for you. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I could have done that myself. You know, I'm like, why even bother? Like you get there and say you save appointments for patients that really need it and stuff. And my kid was like sick.
Yeah.
And I wanted to prevent a trip into the emergency department because I know how quickly he comes around if I know what his sugar's at and what I can do. But yeah. So what I do, I went out and bought my own glucometer. Good. Yeah.
I was going to say they're only about $30 these days. They're pretty cheap.
That's it. Yeah. Yep. No, goodness.
So anyway, so that went a bit deeper than I expected.
It was. It went very deep, didn't it?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cough then.
That's us. That's us for you guys. We're very passionate, if you can't tell, about our profession.
and we like the squirrel. So, you know, we started off with, we'll just explain this, and then we're going to go down the rabbit hole.
Oh, exactly. We're a bit of Alice. I'm the Mad Hatter. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to start with one of my questions because it's very lighthearted. Okay. Yes, and we're going to get a bit of a laugh out of this. So, Belle, have you ever had a crush on a cartoon character?
Ooh. No.
Oh, come on. No, not even like He-Man or Captain Planet and
Captain Planet.
I don't even know.
Just call it the cough wheeze.
Yeah. No. Oh, I'm trying to think
maybe I wouldn't really have called it a crush, but maybe a little bit Fred from Scooby-Doo.
Oh yeah. I didn't think of him. I was thinking like Prince Eric and the Little Mermaid. He's like, yeah. Oh, no. Kristoff. That's got to be it. Kristoff from Frozen. Yeah, that messy hair and that reindeers are better than people. How he talks to himself, I'm pretty good like that.
Yeah. No comment.
Oh, well, I was kind of hoping you would have said something like really interesting there.
I'm really sorry. Sorry to burst your bubble. So what was it for you?
Oh, it's Kristoff from Frozen. Yeah, hands down. Although he talks to reindeers.
Can you blame them? They're so cute.
I know.
He's adorable.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to start with something very generic, and then I'm going to build up from there. Okay. So my very vanilla flavored question. What's your favorite flower?
Sunflowers.
Okay. How did I guess knowing you did DD?
Yeah. You didn't even need to question that.
No.
Yeah.
For me, why? Tell me why. What's your favorite?
They're just so bright and happy. You know, they follow the sun as it goes across the sky. And
yeah, I love that.
You see the bees in them. And to me, it's just bright and lovely. I do love roses. I do like a lot of flowers, but I just feel that the sunflower just makes me feel happy whenever I see them.
Yep. We've got a really big sunflower farm out here. Did you know?
No. I didn't know that.
And when they're in season, you can, I don't know whether it's free or if there's a charge, it's like a donation charge. And you can go and you can have like picnics out in the sunflower fields and stuff.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I'd love to do that, but I think I've told you this. I'm not sure. But last year in prep, the preppies planted a whole heap of sunflower seeds along their eating area, and they just come up so quickly. And I took a couple of photos of it. It was incredible. But then it kind of like got me thinking, there was so many bees right next to a bench where they eat.
Yeah, you'd want to hope there's no allergies
not
there.
the best idea. Yeah, but
Without
no,
a
the
lot
kids
of
were good.
adrenaline pens on hand.
Yeah, that's it. I thought that was quite funny.
Although at the same time, I think kids are being taught a lot more now about, like, if you leave them alone, the bees don't generally worry about you.
Yeah, well, that's what I say. Like, just don't bother it. It won't bother you.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your flower?
So I've got two, but for two very different reasons. I've always loved tulips. I love the shape of them. I think they're awesome. You know, back when I was younger, I always wanted to travel. So I love the fact that tulips are renowned for the Netherlands. You know, it was just that foreignness to it. And especially in the climate that we live in, tulips are hard to, not like we can't grow them here, but even trying to get them imported in, like they don't last in our climate. So they're a ridiculously expensive flower for us locally. So you know someone gives a crap about you if they buy you a tulip. Like,
tulips.
You know what I mean? Like it's a really, but I just love the shape. It's beautiful. I love how, you know, when it opens, it never fully opens. It just holds its form, and I think it's really stylish. Like, gorgeous.
Oh, that's lovely.
And then the other one, I'm sorry, I'm going to get morbid for 1 second. Trigger alert for anyone. I also love desert roses.
This
has been a new thing for me. I love the fact that there are so many different forms of it. This is the trigger warning. I have had a couple of miscarriages. And after my first miscarriage, I took a long time to get over it. It wasn't a planned pregnancy regardless, but it still hit me emotionally, and I bought a commemorative plant. And we've talked about it in our PaintGem unboxing. I have a brown thumb, so I needed a commemorative plant that I wasn't going to be able to kill. So we ended up buying a desert rose, and we got a subform, which is called the Black Queen. So it's a bright red center, and it turns into like black edging. It is absolutely stunning.
Oh, how nice.
That sits in a pot by my door, although with all the rain, it's actually not healthy. I'm really hoping it hasn't died. I'm going to be devastated if it is actually dead, but it's produced a lot of seeds and seed pods, and we've actually planted them, and we've got a whole garden of offshoots from this original plant. So even if it has died, it can still live on. But yeah, no, it's a beautiful, beautiful plant. So desert roses now hold a little bit of a special place.
A special place. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, and they are beautiful plants.
They are.
I love their seed pods. If you don't know what they look like, they come with, like, once they start to seed, they come out with these massive seed pods that sort of go out to the sides like another sort of branch, don't they? And they when they open, it's awesome.
But like, I love even, I don't know enough about other plants to know if it's a fairly similar trait, but even when the seed pods open, basically you get this tiny little oval seed in the center, and you get these big wispy bits that come out the side. And it's what helps to catch it in the wind to be able to get it somewhere else that hopefully it'll, drop enough into the soil to grow. But it's just fascinating that you get this tightly packed seed pod where all the wispy bits are completely flattened, but as it starts to crack, the wind gets in and fluffs them up to take them off. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
It's gorgeous, yeah. Oh, it's incredible. Oh, how nice.
All right, what's your next
It's
question?
got like that sort of a meaning for you, but
I'm trying to take it that it's now something positive, though.
positive,
From that experience, something beautiful is growing.
Yeah, no, that's nice to think of it that way. Yeah. All right.
Question 2.
Question
From
2
you.
for me. Would you ever open a business?
Ooh, do you know, I've thought about this.
Yeah.
In different contexts. So I've thought about it from opening my own pharmacy.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Financially, there's a lot of the profit that's been ripped out from the bottom of pharmacy in Australia. So you can still make money from it, but there is a lot of stress and pressure for it that I just don't know that I have the drive for at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough. Yep,
so it's probably put me off now to owning my own pharmacy. I'm quite happy just being a staff member. I'm not completely against the idea of it. You know, if the right offer comes along, I'd certainly seriously consider it. Yeah, probably not at this stage. But, you know, I've talked about this in the live that I did it for New Year. And you and I have talked about it a few times. I don't know if we talked about it too much in videos, but I find that for diamond painting, there's not a huge amount of accessory companies that are here in Australia.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's been a few things that like I've been interested in maybe trying to start up. So things like for ages there wasn't any putty, and when I was just starting to buy all the products to be able to try and create my own putty, Bex at the Creativity Squirrel and Deb at Aussie's Putty basically came out with putty at the same time. So I sort of gave that idea up. But, you know, other things like we don't really have access to release papers. There's a few spray companies that are coming out now and cover minder companies and things, but we don't have pen molds.
The pens, yes.
We don't have that. You know, Kaz in one of the Australian groups, her husband does it, but it's a bit of a hobby for him. You know, they only buy blanks every so often, and then they just sort of flog it for only a slight profit, you know, a little bit of time, you know, recuperation. But they're not really selling it as a business.
No.
So, you know, there's a couple of things that I wouldn't mind doing, but I just, at the same time, you know, if nobody else has done it, does it mean that there's actually not enough business to do it?
To do it, exactly. And I know I've said to you so many times, like, should we start like a pen? But I'm like, I even said to you, do you think I'll be good enough to turn a pen? And I'm thinking, probably not. I don't know. See, that's like we were talking about before. I'm not very artistic either. So it's not. I'm happy to do all the resin pouring. Like I've done all that. I've made coasters before. That's not an issue. But
yeah,
it's like I don't feel I have the confidence to turn a pen.
Yeah. The other thing you'll have to be is you like really thin pens. You've got to be comfortable with turning thicker pens.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. I know if I could do that.
Because you certainly wouldn't be able to put it in your hand and go, yeah, this feels all right.
No, that does, yeah. I'd be like, nah, too thick. You'll only get the thin ones from me. Yeah, I'm a bit the same. In this environment, like, and in the economy, I kind of think it's a terrible time to even think of starting a business. But it's not something that I've ever really thought about. You know, I'm not really one thinking I'm probably one of those that are very scared of rejection.
Yeah, I'm the same.
And thinking, gosh, if I put my heart and soul into making a product and I get such bad reviews on it, I'll be like, nah, I'm done. That's it.
That's my biggest thing as well.
I take it personally. I think that's one of my biggest things with work. You know, I take a lot of comments. What do they say? Constructive criticism. I take it to heart. And it's not a good thing in my profession, but it's something I'm working on. But still, I don't think I could do it as a bit. I've had so many people say to me, why aren't I out being a private nurse? You know, And I'm thinking, for starters, I wouldn't know where to start.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I get that.
Sort of on the same page there. Yeah.
We'll work on that.
Yeah, we'll work on it. Might be something we can do another day. When we're getting old, then we'll be the two old Sheilas.
So the name's just going to keep growing and changing because soon it's going to be the two crazy crafter Sheilas. So then it's going to be the two old baddie crazy crafter Sheilas.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, I'm almost 40. I'm going to join your club soon.
Oh, hush, you young whippersnapper.
Oh, God. Oh, I've got to tell you something. I know, I probably should have said it in our previous Whip and Chat. I went to get my eyes tested yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Because I wear glasses and my eyesight does deteriorate every couple of years. So I went in there knowing full well that my eyes have deteriorated because I can feel it. And the first thing she says to me is, well, you are approaching 40 and I'm going to warn you now, it's going to go downhill very quickly.
I know. They said the same to me. I went just after my 40th and they said, oh, yeah, now that you've hit 40, it's just going to go downhill from here. I was like,
yep.
Thanks.
No. And she's like, yep, so be prepared. You're going to need bifocals or multifocals and they're a lot more expensive. And I'm like, well, is this what I'm feeling now? The big oh, no, it's going to be worse than this. I'm like, oh, my God, I am getting old.
It breaks your heart. I ended up saying to mine, can I still get the laser done? And she's like, oh, yeah, but it won't stop your short-sighted vision. I was like, that's okay. If I don't have to wear bifocals, I'm good.
I know. I'm like, I don't want bifocals. And she's like, well, it's just such a pain. You're going to have to keep swapping your glasses. I'll do that.
But it's also like the bifocals are a pain when you're at work because like you'd be the same as me. You're constantly looking down at paper and looking up at computer screens and patients and things like that. Yeah. Your eyes to know where your angling has to be. Like, it's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare.
I prefer to have two different sets or get laser done and just need short-sighted.
Yeah, I've thought of that too. Like, oh, God. Because, like, I've got astigmatism and I'm long-sighted. So the astigmatism is what at the moment is bad, but my long-sightedness hasn't changed. And she's like, that's a good thing. Because we'll just counteract your astigmatism and then we'll work on it. I'm like, oh, my God, I don't want to turn 40.
Yeah, it's not fun, to be honest.
No. Oh, dear. All right, let's move on. What's your next question?
Next question is, I got another vanilla one for you. When you were at school, did you have any leadership positions? Were you academic? Were you a sporty person? What were you?
I was the one that sort of sat in the corner and nobody noticed I was there.
No.
Yep, that was me.
No.
Incredibly shy, incredibly introverted. I didn't have any leadership positions. I did a lot of netball in my primary school and early high school. So up to about grade 10. Represented the state, all those sort of things, which is probably why my hips are buggered even more.
Yeah, but how good were you if you were a state rep?
Yeah, but that was only when I was like 15.
Sorry. That's impressive. Well done.
So, so that's all I did. But I tell you, I swear, majority of the people in my like year 11 and 12 class, 3/4 of them would not even know I was part of the school because I was that introverted. It was ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And look at you now. You've got a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, my husband just sort of come and banged on the window and gave me the finger. And I have a lovely husband. Yeah, I know. Look at me now. And it's kind of like I think I put myself in a position where with work, where I have to be outgoing, like I've got my kids.
And I think with the kids as well. Like,
you have to be.
Events where you're with other parents, you have to do it.
Have to do it. And like the job that I'm in, like, okay, when I was nursing in the hospital, I was still very quiet and stuff. But going into a position where I was in the community, going into people's places, talking to friends and family, you kind of had to push yourself out of those comfort zones. And even now in my current work, I do a lot of education and presenting education, like training courses and stuff, I have to talk. You know, I have to put myself out there, and I'm getting used to it, but gosh, it's hard. I have incredible nerves leading up to it. And then I think then I'm able to reflect back on it and said, I actually did that quite well. I actually feel good about that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm guessing you would have. I reckon you would have been like the school leader or something.
I was a sports captain.
Sports captain, okay. Yeah.
This was in an era where basically half the grade 12s had a leadership position. We had a principal that believes that everyone had a fair go. So we had leaders upon leaders upon leaders.
Yeah, my school does that too. The primary school here does that.
Yeah. So I was a sports captain, but I was actually quite an academic. So
wow,
I probably should have done better than what I did. So back in the olden days, you would have been the same as me. We had OP. OP scores.
Yep.
Which was basically, if you had an OP1, you were, incredibly smart, and OP25 was basically you shouldn't be at school.
Yes.
You're not doing So, and like I don't know if it was ever really supposed to be that way, but we always interpreted it because there was 25 levels. Like each level was like 4% of the state. So if you were an OP1, you were in the top 4% of the state. I don't know if that was ever actually official or not.
I don't know. Yeah.
That was how we did it. I ended up with an OP5. So
wow.
I had a fairly good grade, and I always found it quite funny that, I don't know why, but language, we learned Japanese. Yeah. Japanese to me was a very easy language to learn. It's very logical. It follows rules. It's not like English where everything breaks a rule. How everything flows together. It's just the same. It made sense to me. So I ended up overall grade 12 Japanese. We actually got graded. We only had a very, very small class. So we were graded in the state, not in our school. And I ended up with an A average. I had a VHA 5. The highest in my class had a VHA 7, which is almost that A+ level. We had a really good grade, but my parents, being an only child, my parents went to everything to try and promote my learning and my involvement in the school and things. So they went to every single parent-teacher information session and parent-teacher interview and all that sort of stuff. Every single year, my Japanese teacher would say to them, oh, she's doing really well. Belle does really, really well in class and she gets really good grades. She'd do better if she tried. And my parents would be like, that's what we keep thinking. Like, she should be doing better, but she's not trying. For me, I was an only child. I went to school and it was my social situation.
Yeah.
I was getting good enough grades, so I didn't try. I didn't apply myself. And like I used to walk into like our Japanese class every single term. We would have 4 exams. So one would be reading, writing, speaking, and listening.
Yeah.
And I would be the one who was sitting in the class. We only had a class of like 7 or 8, but I would be in the class. I'd be talking to the person next to me, totally not listening. And the teacher would rouse on me every time. And half the time she'd send me out of the classroom, and then I'd just sit outside and, sit on my phone and twiddle my thumbs and not care. And we'd come back in. And so then like we'd get to class the next day and my teacher would say, all right, is everyone ready for the exam today? And I'd be like, what exam?
What?
And they'd be like, and so because we had such a small class, she's like, do you want to put it off until tomorrow so you've got time to study? And I'd just look at her and just go, I'm not going to study. Let's just get it over and done with. Like, I don't care.
Oh, goodness, it's incredible.
VHA 5. So I was like, why put in all this extra effort when I'm doing quite well?
You're doing fine. Yeah, it was like a fun subject or like your blood subject.
It was like easy subject. Yep.
Yeah.
And I did like music class and things for the same reasons. To me, it was something that made sense and it was easy. So
it was easy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that. And then like sport-wise, I played netball. So
nice. Yep.
Where I don't know if because you were at a public high school, weren't you?
Yeah, so I was public for the first couple of years, and I went to boarding school where you are for 1 year.
Okay.
And then I went to a private for 11 and 12 in Mackay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with the private, you would have heard about confraternity.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So it's mainly Queensland, but they did sort of have Northern New South Wales. And then when I was in senior high, we actually had a random, I think it was from WA. We actually had a random school that would participate. I don't know why. But what they had was, they called it confraternity, and it was rugby league, and all of the private schools would be open to participating in it. And when I was grade 11, for the first year ever, they opened it up to netball as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So it was down in Bundaberg, so it was a couple of hours drive from here, and we decided that we were going to put in a girls' team. And because they knew it was like the first one and they weren't going to have any other options, like for future times, what they ended up doing is they basically picked grade 12s. They wanted to make sure that the grade 12s could get to experience it. The problem is that I was quite good at netball. So I was the only grade 11 to go to confraternity from our school.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And we went down, and there was enough schools that participated that we ended up with 2 divisions. And so when we played well enough to make it into first division, but we weren't that good. So we came last in first division. And that was fine. Yeah. We were still happy. It was the first year. That's fine. We still did better than the boys that were in about class C or something. So we still did way better than them.
Yeah.
And then the following year, my area hosted it.
Oh,
so
nice. Yeah.
We then did the the netball as well as the rugby league. And because I was a sports captain, I was heavily involved in organising the netball side of it. So I ended up being the first female at our school to participate in 2 confraternities, because I was in the previous year.
11. Yeah.
So I went down in history for that. Like,
nice.
Said my own horn here. And it was quite funny, because when we got to the last game of the pools, again, we sort of looked like we were good enough that we could make it into Division A, or we could not deliberately lose, because it was going to be a team that was going to be tough anyway, but we sort of could not try quite so hard and stay in Division B.
Yeah, righto.
And there was this whole discussion. The team was divided with, do we go hard to be the losers of Division A, or do we try to win Division B? And everyone ended up getting to the stage. Like, I just stayed quiet, and everyone got to the stage where they turned to look to me and said, you played last year, what do you think? And I said, look, we were proud that we came last in Division A. I said, however, you don't get much bragging rights. Like, if we want to have something, we're better off winning Division B. And everyone went, yep, that sounds good, let's do it. So we won Division B.
Nice.
So, yeah. So, and then, of course, there was the trophy for the school and all the rest of it. So we were quite happy with that. And the other sporting thing was I was quite a swimmer. I used to train every morning before school, every afternoon after school. So I did 10 training sessions a week, and I would travel most of the state for swimming carnivals.
Oh, incredible. That's awesome.
Yeah. So heavily into that. And I was actually in a very, very, very strong female swimming team.
Yeah.
So in my year at school, we actually had 2 girls that represented the state a couple of times.
Oh, incredible. Yeah.
There was me who went to states but never did any well. I was good, but I was not that good. And there was another girl who was like the similar capability as me. But we actually did our 5 years of high school the whole way together. So when we did regionals, no one could even touch us. Like, we came home every single gold, silver, and usually bronze in every single female event. So like relays, we would be a lap ahead of everybody else. We were so far better than everyone. It was absolutely amazing, because we just had these really 4 strong swimmers. And so we actually, no one has even touched us. We are the only team that we know of in our regional area that has won every single year for the inter-school comps for the 5 years in a row.
That is awesome.
So,
that is so
yeah,
good. What an achievement.
it was absolutely amazing. And we had, like, as the sports captains, we had to decide who the team of the year was going to be.
Yeah.
And it was quite funny because the teacher who looked after the sports captains, he was all about the rugby league. So he was talking with the boys, oh, you know, our confraternity team, they did us proud, blah, 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 blah. And again, like, I sat back and didn't say anything. And somebody piped up, and one of the boys piped up and said, the boys actually didn't do that good this year. I think the girls, with their netball team winning Division B, like, they did better than we did.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh, okay. And so then the discussion changed. And one of the other girls in the swimming team, she was also a sports captain. She didn't say anything, and she and I looked at each other, and someone saw our look, and someone went, but the girls with the swimming, no one's ever managed to beat that record.
Yeah.
And so then this whole discussion started with, well, does it go to the girls swimming team or does it go to the girls netball team? And the teacher had a vote, and I sort of sat back and didn't say anything, and it ended up being a 50-50 split. So my decision actually was the deciding point. And I had to look back and say, although I'm incredibly proud that we won Division B, I was like, the swimming team, I think, had an amazing achievement. Like, no one has managed to do 5 years in a row.
Exactly.
Like, to me, that's something we really should be proud of. So I voted for the swimming team. So I was like, either way, I'm getting something. I don't care.
Oh, that's incredible. That's what an achievement. And to look back on and let your boy know, and like you can have the smarts and be academic, but you can also be sport-minded as well. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry, that sounded very much like me tooting my own horn, but I was like, I feel like it's things that people don't know about us, that, you know, we're not just diamond painters. I'm not just a pharmacist, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. Oh, I like hearing that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to, I got 2 more. Which one should I do? I feel like, I think I'll go this one. So apart from diamond painting, what's your guilty pleasure?
Ooh. Lego?
Yeah.
Lego.
I think I have to agree.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love reading. I love listening to music. Like yesterday, I haven't done it for ages because of, you know, my son. We're sort of trying to be a bit more conscious about what he's listening to, especially at the moment. And yesterday, I don't know, I was just feeling it. We had to do a whole heap of housework, and I was like, no, I'm going to put on some 90s and 2000s rock music. It's what I want to listen to. So I put it on. My son was like, what is this music? I was like, it's music I grew up to. Like, shut your mouth, child. Like, just enjoy it and dance with me, okay?
Yep.
I made sure, you know, there was no language in them, but yeah, it was actually really, really good fun just to be able to let go, do some cleaning, do some silly dancing, sing to my heart's content.
Yeah.
You know, being sick, it was really out of key, worse than usual. And I don't know, it was a lot of fun.
It is, isn't it? Like, I remember one day I had my AirPods in, and the kids were playing around with the music on my phone, and they put on Thunderstruck by AC/DC.
Oh, nice.
Love the song, and my kids love it too, and it was one of my dad's favorite songs, and I was like dancing around the house singing, and I was having a great time. Like, you just feel awesome, and when the kids join in, it makes you feel even better. But then when they just stare at you and think, oh my God, is that my mother?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I feel even better.
Yeah.
Because I can embarrass them, and, you know, like, but doesn't it feel good just to sing it out, hey?
It was so nice. Although after about an hour, my son was like, can we stop this music? I don't like it. It's the same song. And I'm like, sweetheart, it's actually not the same song. Like, this is a really long playlist. You just don't know the music.
Oh, my kids are awesome with music. I tell you, like, I've got, my playlists, and we have it in the car going to school and wherever we go, and they choose their songs. And, like, my eldest, she looks through some of these songs, and she puts them, like, she's been playing some Britney Spears songs, and I'm like, do you know this song is like over 20 years old? like
Oh my
25
gosh.
years old. So I swear this came out the year 2000. She's like, what? I'm like, you like an old song.
Oh my
But
gosh. And then you're like,
I,
I grew up to this song. How
I'm
old am
like,
I?
exactly. Like I danced to this song at the clubs. Like, oh my God, this is
Yep.
terrible.
Yep. And like
But
even high
it
school
was,
dances and stuff, I was like, yep. Yep.
yeah, that's it. Hey, gosh, it does make you feel bad, but it's really
It
nice. I know
feels
I've got a
so
love for
good.
music. And my daughter, she does, like, I think I've told you before, like she can pick up songs really quickly, and
Yeah.
she does percussion in the band at school, and she just, like, I've seen her once before, and she was like listening so intently. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm just listening to the song. And the next time she knows the beat, she knows the words, she really
Yeah,
picks up
wow.
on it. And I think I'm going to take credit for it, but I sang to her when I was pregnant.
Yeah.
So I played a lot of music, went to a Katy Perry concert when I was 26 weeks pregnant. So I'm like, and I'm actually taking her to a Katy Perry concert this year. So I'm
That's
very
cool.
excited. That's in June. So she's very
That's cool.
excited. So, it's going to be wonderful. But yeah, music is big for me. But I agree, Lego, reading. It
Yeah.
is. I'm getting back into reading and reading The Fourth Wing. Oh my goodness, it's so steamy and nice to read.
Okay, this is a PG channel, Loz.
It is. I'm keeping it clean. But yeah, I'm onto Iron Flame now, and I keep asking everybody if you have any other like book recommendations for me, please let me know, because I'm making a list and checking it twice,
I was going
going
to say
through
the same thing.
to see what I could do and what I can read next. And I've gone out and bought a couple of others. And I have like a really exciting thing I'm going to in June as well. And I'll talk about it in our next Whip and Chat. And I'll tell you all about it, but I won't spoil it now. So I'll let you do the last question if you want.
Okay. I'm going to go, not too controversial. Do you believe in the paranormal? So I'm talking anything from mediums through to, shapeshifters, ghosts, werewolves, vampires, like that whole gamut. What do you believe?
I'm probably more to the no side of things. I'm probably think that it can happen. I think there's spirits, but I'm probably a bit on the fence.
Okay.
I don't believe in werewolves. Don't believe in like those sort of stuff. But I'm thinking that there would be like your spirits and ghosts, and there's got to be something, Especially since I've got to tell you this since you brought it up. Just after my cat passed that night, I had a dream about her, and all I could hear was, I love you. I love you. And I'm like, where is this coming from? I was home in the house on my own, and I walked into the kitchen, and there's my cat, and she's saying, I love you. I love you. And she's like, it's okay. I found Conan, and Conan was our other original cat. And she's like, I found Conan, but I haven't found Molly yet. I'm going looking for her, but I love you and I'm okay. I'm like, far out. And I kind of believe that they come to you in your dreams. That's where I feel it. And my dad comes to me in my dreams when I'm a bit stressed and overwhelmed. And I think that's where I kind of sit. But I don't know. I'm really on the fence about other stuff. And I know you're big on some of the ghost hunting and those sort of things.
I don't know if I fully believe. I'm certainly open to the possibility.
Yeah.
Sorry. So yeah, I just look at it from the point of view that there's so many cultures around the world that have similar stories and myths and legends that overlap with so many other pieces of the world. That they wouldn't have mixed cultures yet. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think so, yeah.
So I just think there has to be something to it.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but I feel like there has to be something. When I find watching those ghost shows, I find them interesting. I still don't know how much of it I believe is genuine, but there's enough things that happen that make me go, either they've completely faked it or there's something there.
There's something there. Yeah.
There's enough evidence that, to me, it has to be one or the other. It's not something you can logically write off.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that there is something, but there's enough question to make me ask. I have to tell you one story. My mum knew that I was quite interested in it, and back in the day, we could only get shows like Crossing Over with John Edward. That was only available on PayTV. You couldn't get that on free to air. And my dad ended up, because he loves his rugby union, he ended up paying for PayTV right at the end of my high schooling. So I was able to start watching that show. And I just found it interesting. Again, I got to the stage where I was like, it's either a plant or it's real. There were times that he'd be like, I have a name starting with S. And you're like, I'd roll my eyes and be like, yeah, well, who doesn't? But, there'd be other bits of the show that I'd be like, that's strangely specific. That either someone has researched and given him the information, or he's researched it and come up with it. Like, I don't know, but it's real or it's completely fake. There's no wishy-washy.
That's right. Yeah.
My mum knew I was interested. So when I graduated from university with my pharmacy degree, my mum shouted me a ticket to go. So she came with me.
Oh, yeah.
John Edward was coming to Brisbane. So we went down and we sat in the audience. It was huge. Like, there was, I don't know, 600-700 people in there. It was huge. And it started off with that wishy-washy stuff. And, he spent a lot of time talking about his process. And there's a couple of stories that sort of got to me. Like, there was one that he was drawn to one section of the audience on the other side of where we were. And he was talking about that he had a male presence coming through, which was a friend. It wasn't a sibling. It wasn't a partner, but it was a friend. And he wanted to talk to a female, but this was a male that was talking to him. And there was a couple of people that were like, yeah, it sounds like it could be me. I can't even remember what the extra information was. But he got to the stage and he was like, there was something about shaven eyebrows. And one lady just started crying. And she was like, yeah, this guy was their best man at her wedding. And he thought it'd be funny to shave her husband's eyebrows on the bucks party. And it was this whole thing. Now, most people have a drunken story about shaved eyebrows. But again, it was oddly specific that it makes you question. So I was already sort of sitting up a little bit straighter going, okay, maybe. Then the one that really got to me was, like, this whole show went for probably about an hour and a half. And we were in the second half, like we were coming up to the end. And in the middle section where obviously most of the people were sitting, he was pointing like in the middle. And he was saying, I want to talk to somebody sitting around, I can't remember what it was, but like the person in the blue shirt, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And he was saying they'd had a miscarriage and their father had died recently and there was somebody else who died recently as well. So, you're getting down to it shouldn't be every man and his dog. And this person, he was pointing at them, like whoever it was, but the person in the blue shirt, we'll say. And he was like, it's you or it's somebody directly around you, like in the 8 places sitting around you, next to you or behind you or diagonal from you. And everyone else is like, no. And this person in the blue shirt or whatever was like, it's not me. They just did not want to believe. And he kept going. He's like, it's got to be you all right next to you. Like, he would not leave this person alone. And then he's going, there's something about, the month of May or whatever. And again, they were like, no. They just didn't want to know. And he got to the stage where he said, I remember it was July. And I want to say it was like the 13th. It was about the middle of July. He was like, there's something about the 13th of July. And this person was like, no. And the person who was sitting next to them said, that's your birthday. And everyone just went, whoa.
Oh.
And it's like, of 365 days of the year, how could you pick that person's birthday? And when they actually talked to her, her dad had died all of about a month ago. Whoever else was the friend or the family member that had died only about 2 or 3 months ago. They'd miscarried weeks ago.
Oh.
Like, everything was related to them. And then he came out with, like, once he was like, no, I am talking to you. This person still didn't want to believe it, but he kept coming up with other bits of information, whatever they were, I can't remember. And eventually, like, this chick just started crying and was just like, okay, it is for me. But he was on her for like 15 minutes going, it's you. I am talking to you. Like, you need to accept this. And it was really fascinating to watch.
Do you think it was real, though?
I don't know.
Where my skepticism comes in and thinking, okay, could this have been planted, to prove that he can turn a skeptic to someone that doesn't believe into doing it? But do you feel like her emotions were
we actually
like
ran
real?
into somebody else that had been read. So we didn't know them, and my mum, she wanted to know. She's totally upfront. She's the opposite to me. Like, I'm sort of like you, I'm a bit of an introvert. Whereas my mum's like, I'm just going to blurt it and I don't care who I insult because I want to know the answer. So she actually saw someone who'd had a reading, and theirs wasn't overly major or important. And she went up to them and she was grilling them. And she was like, was this real? Like, did you really feel like this was the person? And this woman started crying again and was like, no. I felt it like it was about me. So Mum and I both ended up leaving going, either somebody has researched every person that's come in here to find the interesting stories, or it is 100% genuine. Like, we don't believe she was lying.
Yeah.
So wow. I don't know. It just sits in the back of my mind with a maybe.
I think too. Yeah. I'm not. I tend to go down a bit of a rabbit hole and think, yeah, okay, it could be real. But then I'm like, why would it be real? Why would some people have this and not everybody? And what makes you so special to have this sort of gift? And why would you want to research so many things about a person, just to make some money,
That's right. And that's what I keep thinking, like, is the effort to be a charlatan worth it? Really? To justify the amount of time and the energy. And then, like, I've read the story of John Edward, like, he'd agreed to have, I think it was him. So one of the well-known mediums has agreed to actually have scans, and they've actually found that there's a section that's not normally active.
Wow.
And so they're actually wondering whether there is something to that. But trying to find somebody genuine in amongst all the charlatans is really hard to do as well.
Yeah.
So I just don't know. I'm interested enough and I'm open enough to the idea that it could be real, that I want to keep learning about it. But I'm also trying to keep that skepticism of, is it genuine?
Yes. And I think, like, you don't really want to come out and openly say you believe in all this stuff, because then you get all the criticism and thinking, oh my God, you're crazy, of the people that really don't believe in it, to bring you back down. And like how we said before, we're not really ones to take criticism well. And I think if you kind of keep your beliefs to yourself then, don't you?
Very much so. Yeah. There was when we were in Scotland, because that's where my husband and I got married, for anyone who hasn't seen our earlier WIP and chats. My hen's night was a ghost tour of the Edinburgh vaults.
Incredible.
So we did that the night before the wedding, and it was just me and a couple of girlfriends that had come over from, one was from Norway and one was from here with me. So it was just the three of us that went over, and we went through the vaults, and it was just interesting. Like, we all had the same kind of an idea of, there's got to be something, but we don't know what, and we just wanted to see what would happen. Everyone talks about how haunted the Edinburgh vaults are. So I wanted to see it for myself. And if nothing else, I wanted to get the history, because you do get a lot of the history information from those sorts of tours. They give you the gory details. So we were walking around, and I found it fascinating that we went into this one section where, with the vaults, there was there was a guy who had ended up being a bit of a nasty, nasty man, and he'd murdered some women.
Ooh,
I can't remember the full story. I feel like there was, sexual exploitation and things associated with it. Like it was just a nasty, nasty man. But we walked into the vault, and the tour guide didn't say anything, but he let us all walk in, and he sort of waited near the door. Now, some of the others, he would sort of walk in and be like at the other end so that everyone would file in after him. This one, he stepped back and let everyone file into the room first, which I thought was weird. And I was sort of near the front. There was probably only about a half dozen people before me. And I noticed that when we walked in, the first half a dozen automatically went to the left. And I was slowly sort of walking in. I was like, why would you all go to the left? Like, that's weird. And I started to turn to the right, and I went, well, that feels odd. No, I'll be fine. And I just kept walking to the right. And so my girlfriends came and stood near me, and everyone else that filed in went to the left. So there was about 24, 25 people. There was a gap between the rest of the group and the three of us. And the guy came in and he looked at us and he just smiled and he went, that's interesting. He said, every time he goes into this room, basically everyone goes to the left-hand side, and they think it's because, like, of course they're turning it up because of the ghost stories, but they were saying, like, the bodies of all these women that had been murdered were all found on the right-hand side of the room. And for some reason, no one wants to stand on the right. And it was just interesting that I did hesitate, that I went, oh, yeah, feel quite right. But it was enough for me to go, it'll be fine. And I did it anyway. And my girlfriends, because I was there, they were fine. But it was really fascinating to watch that everyone else went the other side of the room. So it's things like that that make me go, is there something?
Oh, of course. There has to be.
I don't know. It's just weird.
Oh, incredible. Oh, I love this Whip and Chat. This has been so good. Finding out so much more about us, guys.
That's what I thought. Like, these are questions that people don't always ask or talk about. And I just think they're fun. The advantage for us is, like, at least we can record it at any time. Like, you and I, it's sometimes hard to get our recording schedule set up. So at least we get the advantage that we can try and get a couple done and then have videos more regularly for you guys. So hopefully you enjoy that we're trying to do something a little bit different, but we'd love it if you answer these questions below.
And if you have anything you want us to answer next, you want included in our next one, please let us know. I'd love to hear what you guys want to know about us. And if there's something specific, please let us know. But it's lunchtime for me. My hubby has just brought home some hot choc, and I am going to go and enjoy my lunch.
Sounds very, very good. My hubby and child will be home soon, so.
Oh, fun. I'll eat quick so we can get some more done for you guys. So thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you've enjoyed what we've done. If you want to like the video, subscribe if you want to join us for some more craziness, and we'll see you again in the next one. Have a great week, guys. Bye.
Bye.